Hello, welcome to the dollhouse. I am the doll, and I'm so grateful to be back before you today with some new thoughts on the 4B movement. Yesterday, I made a video about the 4B movement, and many of you already are familiar with it. You're already familiar with the concept of decentering men, which is really more so related to centering the divinity within yourself, centering your dreams and wishes and goals over and above, tailoring them to the goals and visions that a man might have. The 4B movement is a bit different, okay? And it is a concept that began in South Korea. And I said yesterday that it would not work in America, at least not in the same way, because America doesn't have the social programs and the government benefits that make doing it possible. But nevertheless, it's pretty much happening anyway. Okay, you cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. The wheels are off the car and it is just skidding on the chassis right now. Like, there's no going back, basically. So in America, I decided that I would give the 4Bs names. So this is basically the same concept for what the 4Bs mean in South Korean, in Korean. So no betrothal, which is no weddings, no marriages, no babies, no boyfriends, and no bromances, okay? So I'll just discuss. No betrothal, that's self-explanatory. Women decide not to get married to men. They're just leaving it alone. No babies. If there's no marriage, there should definitely be no babies anyway. But women in South Korea are not even going to the insemination banks. They're not having babies. And here in America, the birth rate has dropped quite a bit. No boyfriends. No boyfriends. This is something that is long overdue, because this is the problem. Romance is what has killed the humanity, and it's causing us to lose purpose. And romance was really something that was invented long before feminism was invented. It was around before America, so we can blame Europeans and French poets for and knights for coming up with romance. No boyfriends. So going on dates, all of that is come to a halt in South Korea. And no bromances. Now, bromances in America usually means men who are friends, but women should not be friends with men. Why? Why are y'all being friends with men? Unless they are gay men. I'll say that, because they have an identity that makes them able to appreciate feminine energy. But, even with gay men, there are some precautions. Even with women, there are some precautions to take. But there's no reason after maybe 5th grade to have men friends. It just doesn't make sense to me. So 4B is just women giving up. In America, women might choose to modify that and just either abandon dating altogether or date for the 2 M's. Dating for the 2 M's, which is dating for marriage or for money. Keeping your legs closed until either you get marriage or you get money. women taking sex off of the market, that's the easiest route to take. Women that's an easy movement for us. Just remove sex. There will be some defectors, of course, women who are just so sex oriented that they can't seem to keep their legs closed to cute guys. You know, they're not willing to take any money or be patient enough to wait for someone to want marriage. I'm in my car and somebody's alarm is going off. Y'all, please excuse that. Anyway. Gross. So, there will be some defectors, but if the great majority of women are willing to really make the sacrifice to just buckle down, focus on the divinity within, finding things that they enjoy contributing to the world, so that way they can have community and be supported. That's going to be the sacrifice that women make for future generations to have better balanced relationships. Just taking themselves off the market and making it a requirement for men, because men need a purpose. And their purpose has to be, at this point, money. They have to provide money. Not to say that women should not also make money, but men have to provide money in order to feel some purpose. I'm going to read a passage from a book called Men and Marriage by an economist named George Gilder. This book was written in 1983. I think it's out of print, but he's written many other books about the economy, because when he wrote this book, he started to do tours and he was getting booed on shows like Donahue and places like that. He was getting booed by women because he basically was telling women, it's your responsibility to civilize men. And what he meant by that is that you need to keep your legs closed, because if not, as he warned, men will turn to homosexuality, degeneracy, pornography, and they'll turn to being bad husbands, bad fathers. He warned against it. I'm going to read a passage from this book. Okay. This is from the chapter that's called The Facts of Life. He says this: the central roles are mother and father, husband and wife. They form neat and apparently balanced pairs. But appearances are deceptive. In sexual terms, there is little balance at all. In most of these key sexual events, the male role is trivial, even easily dispensable. Although the man is needed in intercourse, artificial insemination has already been used in hundreds of thousands of cases. Now, this was written in 1983. 1983. So, artificial insemination has already been used in hundreds of thousands of cases. Otherwise, the man is altogether unnecessary. It is the woman who conceives, bears, and suckles the child. Those activities that are most deeply sexual are mostly female. They comprise the mother's role, a role that is defined biologically. The nominally equivalent role of father is in fact a product of marriage and other cultural contrivances. There is no biological need for the father to be anywhere around when the baby is born and nurtured. Don't we see that? Don't we see that when women are in the hospital giving birth and her best friend is there and her mother? Not her father, not her husband, not even her boyfriend. She's surrounded by women. In many societies, the father has no special responsibility to support the specific children he sires. In some societies, paternity is not even acknowledged. The father is neither inherently equal to the mother within the family, nor necessarily inclined to remain with it. In one way or another, the man must be made equal by society. All right? So we have to make men equal. We have to make them equal by giving them a purpose in the family. I'm going to skip a paragraph and go down to the next paragraph. In primitive societies, men have the compensation of physical strength. I'm going to stop here. Men used to have the upper hand because they could not only just beat us up, but they could help fight off the elements, help building homes. That was a thing. Like in primitive societies, men would help gather materials. Now, a lot of times women were still building homes, but gathering materials, helping just their overall manpower, fighting off animals, working very hard, hunting, I'll keep reading. In primitive societies, men have the compensation of physical strength. They can control women by force and are needed to protect them from other men. This is important. I'm going to talk about this later. Protection from other men. This equalizer is relatively unimportant in a civilized society, especially in 2024. I'll keep reading. He says, in successful civilized societies, man counterbalances female sexual superiority by playing a crucial role as provider and achiever. Money replaces muscle. If society devalues this male role by pressing women to provide for themselves, prove their independence, and compete with men for money and status, there is only one way equality between the sexes can be maintained. And this is a principle of a natural law, cause and effect. Everything balances out. Women must be reduced to sexual parity, like put on the same level of men. Sexually, put on the same level as men. Women must relinquish their sexual superiority, psychologically disconnect their wombs, and adopt the short-circuited copulatory sexuality of males. That means that in order for men to be as important as women, women have had to be loose in the booty, basically, and just have sex just like men. He goes on to say, women must renounce all the larger procreative dimensions of their sexual impulse. Like the importance related to giving birth, being a portal to another universe. That has to be made less important. It's not even important. And that's where we are right now. We have a hand in this and we can correct this. We have to take the free sex off the market. Make coochie cost again. Make the coochie cost again. Tell it to your friends. Please tell your friends. And the thing is that I'm not telling women to wait till marriage to have sex anymore. If you've already done it, make it cost. Date for the 2 M's, either marriage or money. And some women will choose to opt out altogether. The price will only go up. Men will have a purpose again, because their purpose will be to make money, compete in society, be valuable. Now, if women are just doing and deciding to go their own way and do the 4 B's, no betrothal, no babies, no boyfriends, no bromances, if they choose to just go their own way, women need to be prepared in America. They need to have the kinds of insurance and financial setup that will ensure that when they are in old age, they will have some care. Or women need to press for laws that will support how things are going to change. Because the way society continues to go, the direction that society is going in, people are more single. Women do not have the protection of men, and they do not have protection from men either. You see in New York, if you've been reading about men in New York, random men punching random women in the face and in the head, attacking random women. Men feel, that now they can hit a woman for something that she says out of pocket, not a line. We saw that a few months ago with the lady being attacked at the chicken joint, and her son ended up shooting the man who attacked her. So women, we're going to do the 4B, decentering men, not involving ourselves with men, we have to be ready for the violent men in society who are not ready or willing to pay or to marry. They're not good candidates for marriage, so no woman would say yes. No woman that they would want. No woman that knows that she should be dating for men or marriage. Religion has to hop on this concept. See, the problem, what patriarchy really is men disconnecting feminine divinity and forcing women to put men on that pedestal as the higher ranking than God. The God they serve was invented. The God that men serve and have been forcing women to serve was invented. And the God within, the goddess energy within, the divinity within has been cut off. And those days are over because nobody's going to church. The numbers are declining for church. The numbers are declining for babies. So this is the direction that we're heading in, and women have to get on board. And if women aren't getting on board, other women who are on board have to hold them accountable. Not necessarily with punishment, but we will have to encourage our friends to decenter sex and male attention and do so ourselves, So, and the reason why this is important is because society is becoming ever increasingly dangerous. It is more and more risky to just go outside. And women at this point, I believe that there are some political points that we might consider fighting for in order to advance the 4B movement, decentering men movement, and the 2M movement. There has to be something that is set up to protect people in older age, because it's not just women who will live a long time and need elder care. It's men. You see these homeless old men everywhere. And homeless old women are certainly rising in numbers. But old people who do not have families, who do not have anyone to center in their lives, no one to depend on, no money to pay for the cost of long-term care, there will have to be some social programs put in place to care for these elderly people. And maybe we can look to the South Korean model, which was also based on the Japanese model, because something has to happen. So maybe tell your state representatives and congressional representatives what your ideas are, what they can do to help women and men as society is poised to crumble. Another thing that women need to do is prepare for the lonely incels that are dangerous in society. Women will have to prepare for the men who are dangerous and fight for laws that allow women to protect themselves. There's a saying, an armed society is a polite society, because no one wants to step on anyone else's toes. People understand codes when their life is on the line. So since men will not be relied on for protection, and they, could be the ones who victimize a woman, women have to be ready to arm themselves and vote in accordance with laws that allow them to arm themselves. For example, in New York, where all these women are getting punched in the head, they cannot carry a firearm. They can't even carry pepper spray in certain places. I live in a state where you don't even need a permit to carry a gun, and I am very, very happy. So I would recommend that as we consider this 4B movement, it become a coded way of life that everyone understands. And it basically is close your legs unless you're getting marriage or getting some money. What's the point? Because getting attention from a guy who's cute with the promises of commitment, that is leaving women frustrated all around the world. Being someone's girlfriend is a dead-end street in most of the occasions. Women who are married to men who are probably not their first girlfriend, their first boyfriend, rather. So they could have avoided having a boyfriend before him had they been following the 2M movement, marriage or money. And marriage has to come with money. It can't just be marriage for the sake of a title. Because as George Gilder said, the protection, that aspect of it, the muscle is replaced by money. Because at this point, we do have the police. Most of us have the right to bear arms. Most of us have the right to buy security cameras and pets like dogs that can help protect. And very soon we'll have the types of machines that can attack an intruder. So, it's just something to be aware of. Like the types of robots that will be able to attack intruders are going to be manufactured soon enough. So men need a purpose. Men fighting the purpose of providing are truly lost. And they're only lost because they are used to getting the benefit of free sex. So why would they step up and do anything else but listen to their base urges? They don't understand feminine divinity and also the sexual superiority of women, because women have lowered themselves sexually. Get up off the ground. You are spreading it low, spread eagle. For what reason? For what reason? If it's not marriage or money, baby, you truly are losing. And for those of you who are saying, you know what, I'm not a prostitute. If I want to have sex, I just want to do it. Why are you taking so much pride in giving your body away for free? Like, you just don't understand the divinity within. And if you're doing that, these types of women should be shunned by women in the dollhouse. The dolls, if you are out here spreading it low and busting it wide for somebody who is not paying or is not your husband, you are not one of the dolls. You are a defector. You're lost. And what listen, I subscribe to the philosophy of the 48 laws of power. We have to avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. And the women who are still out here spreading it low and busting it wide for compliments and bubblegum, they are the unhappy and the unlucky. Avoid them. Avoid them. You can see the patterns of their life and how it goes in a cycle of nothing. So anyway, y'all, I hope this made sense. I did a lot of rambling. I'm in the car. Yes. Love me despite it. I'll talk to y'all soon.